Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about the Deuce Season 1, Episode 4. It is called I See Money. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, we're actually halfway through the season now, which is insane. I really doesn't feel like it.
Oh, damn, I forgot this was only eight.
Yeah, it's only 8 episodes.
Why did you ruin it for me?
I'm sorry, but the facts are the facts. What can I say? Uh, so, I think we'll start with Candy this week because obviously we typically go character by character more or less, depending on how the plot of the episode was kind of wrapped up. And obviously we've talked a lot about Candy in the last few episodes and how she's thinking like a business person and she's seeing the opportunities to make more money. I think her stuff typically is some of the strongest in the episodes, and here I think it's also true, but it doesn't focus on the same thing this time. It actually, instead of going down the more business route of like, okay, she's seeing how money could be made, she's seeing what the options are, and so on and so forth. This was more the other side of it is why she wants out of this life and why she should be out of this life at this point. It was very much that side of the debate.
Yeah, instead of looking at that was all the business stuff. This was looking at her as a person.
Yeah, and there was like just repeated like scenes showing that she is sick of this life, that she has outgrown this, she is too old for this shit to borrow a lethal weapon line. You know, like but it kind of had that feeling. The opening scene, she's it's raining. Her and Laurie are standing there and like, okay, there's no one coming out tonight. It's just wet. Like it's like go to the movie theater and do those like sort of quick jobs. Which Laurie's been told not to do by Cece, but she's like, it's
Better than nothing.
better than nothing. And she goes into the theater, the porn theater, and the guys are all watching. This guy comes up to her, she's standing at the back. Oh, hey, do you like movies? And there's this great moment where Maggie Gyllenhaal like goes from being just kind of depressed looking to putting on the game face, as it were, and like, yeah, sure do, I love them, or whatever she says. And it cuts to like the guy's watching the movie and she's giving him a blowjob in the seat, and it's going along as you'd expect it. And then this rat crawls on her arm and up her back, and she eventually notices it and like shrieks and like screams. And she actually, I think she like headbutts the guy as she gets up.
Yeah, I thought it was more maybe she hit him. She was like trying to get the rat off her.
No, I think see when she puts her head up the first time when she like freaks out.
Maybe that's what it was.
I think the back of her head like clocks him in the chin.
Yeah.
But it was
It
like,
all happened so fast as well. Once she noticed it, suddenly she just moves.
yeah. There's just damn. Because at first I'm like, did she just not care? And I'm like, no, she's just not felt it yet. She's just not noticed there's a rat on her. But like the whole thing is just horrific. It's like, yeah, you kind of need to get out of this life, but it's set up, or it concludes perfectly. She goes back out and she's ran out into the sort of the foyer of the theater, and this other guy comes up to her. She's still sort of like catching her breath after the freak out moment. And this guy comes up and says the exact same thing the other guy did. Oh, do you like movies then? And the theme music kicks in as she turns and just gives him the death stare. Like, keep walking, buddy, or I will cut it off. I am not in the mood. And it's this perfect encapsulation of, yeah, I need to get out of this life. It's I'm done with this.
Yeah, it's a really obvious way to open the episode. It's like, okay, this is what this one's about.
Yeah, and it kind of just repeats it because she's at the bar later on and she's still kind of not in a great mood. But this guy sort of notices her, slinks over, and is like, and I'm saving the non-prostitute stuff for. I know I've skipped another thing with her, but I want to take it in two sort of parts. This guy slips up next to her and is like, hey, you in the mood for a date? And again, same thing. The face changes. It's like at first she's like in a really shitty mood. She's not happy about anything, and then she puts on the face and is like, "Yeah, I'll make some money." And it's like again,
she's a professional.
But I think the point is that this is the second time this episode where she's had to force the face, like the sales face, as it were. She has to put on the act, and you can tell it's taken a lot out of her. But this guy dies mid blowjob. This is what essentially.
I saw it coming when he was walking up the stairs.
Stairs.
He's like, he's having a heart attack or something like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I saw it coming, but I thought it would be during actual sex. Because the idea that he's strenuous and it would be.
Yeah.
But he's literally just sitting there.
I think it's funnier this way though.
It is funnier. Also,
and I was thinking, oh, it'll be like a really big heart attack. It'll be really obvious. again, I think it's funny. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, he just kind of lies back as if he's enjoying it.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of the same with as the rat, where it's there, but she doesn't notice at first, and then there's a moment where suddenly, okay, she's noticed.
she's noticing the life she's in is
Yeah,
not very good. Yeah, it's kind of this thing where over the years she thinks this is okay. She's kind of accepted this as her life, but now she's starting to notice, hey, I'm like middle aged now, and
yeah.
like,
It's like this sudden realization, isn't it?
yeah. So again, it's just another like the rat. That's just other horrific situation she shouldn't be going through.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is kind of dark that she was probably sucking a little bit past the point of death.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I think it makes a point in this scene to show that she's still holding it. Like, as she asks if he's okay, because it just adds this extra layer of realism to the, oh, he's just died in the middle of this.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, and at least the closing scene, because it actually bookends the episode very nicely, because the closing scene's in the diner that we keep going back to, where they all hang out, and they're all cracking jokes. Everyone's heard about it, because she went and got a police officer. She didn't just run away. She made a point of calling it, and she's not,
Yeah, I mean, even as soon as she comes out, and there's the pimp there, and she's like, I think someone's just died in there, and it's like even that would be enough to go, okay, this is going to get around.
Yeah. But everyone's talking about all the pimps we know are all like sort of like just, and they're not necessarily disguising it. They're not like talking quietly. They're just like, oh yeah, I heard she killed a guy while she was sucking. Oh, she'll be beating the customers off. Pardon the pun. After that gets around, like the idea that it's so good that she killed someone.
Yeah,
And they're all sort of cracking a joke, and then one of them starts a round of applause as she's getting up. And the entire cafe, and Frankie's there. Frankie's there with the new bodyguards, and they're clapping. They've all heard it, and they're all clapping as she walks out. And it's just kind of this final thing, like, yeah, she's like, yeah, F you all, but she's smiling as she does it. But you can kind of see behind the smile, yeah, I kind of want out of this. I'm done.
Yeah, definitely. Like her walking out, like because that cafe diner has been, so symbolic of that's the home of the pimps,
the hub.
That's and her choosing to walk out on it, what is like that is almost like a high point from their point of view. It's like, look how good you are at this. It's almost like that, and then she's just like, no, I'm leaving it behind, even though it's like, yeah, she could keep doing this, but she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if necessarily she has actively made the choice yet, but thematically and symbolically, for us, she is going down that path. Like that's where we're going here. Even if she still stars in the movie she's going to make, it's still going to be different to turning tricks every night. She's definitely wanting on this path. But obviously we're not done with Candy. There's a whole other plot line with her here, which obviously, as much as it's separate, it ties in heavily to, like, the prostitute stuff in this episode was all about how horrific this is. The other stuff was showing how it's kind of broke her as a normal person and how she's not actually physically able to do normal things. She's at a music store, and she's actually, did you ever say why she was actually in there? I can't remember. Not that it really matters, but
no, I don't think so.
Because the guy thinks she's buying something for her kid, but she then lies about it and says she doesn't have any kids later on. But that's kind of what he assumes at first, but she never actually says why she's in there.
Might be true though.
It may be true.
Just be that she is buying something.
Yeah, or maybe she just wants an album. She's actually just shopping for music. It could just be that.
No reason why not.
But this guy notices her, and he sort of because she plays a little harmonica that's kicking around, and he notices her, and he starts, and it's a very normal, friendly sort of flirt. It's just kind of like, oh, hey, you seem nice, small talk about the record, and he's got a son and he's divorced, which I actually really like that. He very subtly mentions that, oh, he lives with his mum. I don't see him much. It's like, letting her know you're divorced. Very wise.
Well played.
Immediately, I'm single, without just making it too obvious. But he's basically just being polite, and she's kind of uncomfortable, and he asks for a number, and that's where the scene cuts. But we find out later, because she's at home and she plays the answering machine, which he mentions is new. Oh, it's one of those new machines, which I wouldn't even have thought about, but I guess it was probably when they were all new.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
And he's just like, oh, hey, I'm the guy from the store, blah, 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 blah. Let's go out for, a drink or coffee, whatever you want. And this scene takes place in between two of the other ones. Like, it's right before she goes out and, like, kills the guy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're going back and forth, and it's like she's clearly tempted by this normal offer. And when we come back to our apartment later on, she's listening to the tape over and over again. It was actually kind of really disorienting, because every time it cut to a different part of the tape, and it started to feel really, like, hard to tell, Like, because
Yeah,
the first time it did it, I thought there was a mistake in the edit, but it was
no.
actually
And
jumping
then
between
you got
time.
no. It's just the
Yeah,
idea that this is a loop, and we're
yeah.
just checking in. We don't need to hear the start of it every time.
But she's so, and she's like trying different makeup. She's changing her makeup. She's changing her dress. She's changing what she's wearing. She's going over and over. You get the sense that she's not actually been on a normal date with a guy in years, maybe over a decade or something like that. This has just not been a part of her life, and she doesn't know how to do it. And the date itself is extremely awkward.
Oh boy, she does not know what she's doing anymore, does she?
Well, she doesn't. But the most interesting part for me of that scene was he's honest. Because she asked him why he's divorced. You know what happened, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to fess up. You know, I had an affair with someone I worked with," and I almost like thought like because this is before he asked her questions. And I got the impression that she kind of bottled up a little bit after hearing that, almost like, he's not someone going out for a prostitute, but he's still kind of a dick. Like I kind of get the feeling that as soon as he said that, it's like, oh, they're really all the same. They're different, different circumstances.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
but
I see what you're saying.
but I think her opinion of him might have dipped during there.
I mean, it definitely did a bit because he even acknowledges that, doesn't he?
Yeah. Because then he starts asking questions, and she doesn't tell him that she's got a son. She outright lies and says she doesn't.
Yeah, no kids, never married.
But I think the big thing for me was that she told him his real name in the music store when he asked her what her name was. She didn't say Candy. She said the real name, and I thought that was maybe the first sign that she was interested. Obviously we had the obsessively listening to the answering tape later was the
Confirm
big hint.
that,
But that was the sign that she actually was interested, that she gave him the real name. Although, as awkward as the dinner was, I don't know if it's as awkward as the kiss at the end, after the dinner.
Yeah, she really doesn't know how this is supposed to go, does she? Again, it's like...
This is the thing, we saw her with the kid in like episode 1 or 2. She doesn't kiss the Johns. That's just because she says, no, we don't do that. And she almost did that exact thing in that scene where she says, no. And it was like, that's just what you do. That's what you do with the guys.
That's it. She almost feels like she's just out on a job here.
Yeah.
Like, it's just habit. It's like, okay, I'm with a guy. This is just part of the job. She doesn't know what to do.
But then she kind of realises that and then goes in for the kiss. And then the kiss itself is one of the most awkwardly filmed kisses I think I've ever seen. You just sort of see the tongue going, but it's not really making contact with anything, and then he sort of goes in a bit more, and the whole thing's very, very awkward. And then she kind of like walks in away from him without saying anything. Again, just capping off the awkward scene.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're done here.
And I think it's very interesting that she waits until he goes, and then she walks back out with her wig to go and work.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think she hasn't decided yet whether she's going to, see him again. But it's just in case. It's like, all right, I'm gonna wait till he's gone, so he doesn't see me like this. In case she decides that, okay, I'm gonna go out again. Maybe we'll get the truth at some point, but not here, not like this.
I think for me, just the absurdity of it, the idea that she's just got back from a date and then she waits however long and goes back out to work as a prostitute. It's just such a weird life.
Yeah. Do you think she's trying to make it like detach herself from the date? Like she's like, oh, that was awkward. Maybe that wasn't too great. I should just focus on work almost.
Or I'd maybe say more specifically, focus on what she knows. Like, that didn't go very well, but I'm good at this.
That makes sense.
Almost in the way that someone tries to talk themselves out of doing something, even though it's the right thing to do. Like, oh, you should try this new job. Oh, it's not really for me. I don't like it. You try and talk yourself out of it because it's scary. Because change is scary. Even if she is sick of her current life and she wants to be a better mother and she wants to do all these things, you really get the sense that it's conflicting. But I think the clapping scene at the end is kind of the capper on it here in this episode, where it's like, yeah, I want out of this.
It's it, because she's wanted to go in baby steps. Like, she wants to move out of prostitution into porn, but it's still like the same industry mostly. It's like, she wants to move to the camera and she wants to do the technical things, but she's still looking at it from the perspective of what she knows. She's not looking at it in terms of wider filmmaking. Not really.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it's not a bad, bad route for her to go down to
No,
like try
not.
and it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of porn stars end up like directing porn later in their life when they get a bit older, and it's like, okay, I'm not a performer anymore, but I'll.
Yeah, they do the same as the TV stars
Yeah. It's just weird.
on the long running shows. It's like I'm going to direct some.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think Candy's stuff is the most fascinating from a character perspective. Like I think it's very clear what's going through her head at all times, and I really feel like I'm getting the struggle within as she's doing this stuff. So exceptionally strong stuff. So I guess we'll talk about the bar and the
It
characters.
encompasses pretty much everything else.
Yeah, for the
More or
most
less.
part. Yeah, it's this one's almost harder to talk about because so much of it kind of
It's
bounces
instead of
back and
having all
forth.
these separate strands, we've kind of got two main sections really. Like we've got, Candy and then the bar.
Yeah, that was pretty much, and obviously it ballooned out of that in some ways. Like we went to the
Yeah.
work site because we had this new problem where all the workmen were saying, nah, you know what, we don't want this 5% cut so we can get our cash on a Friday. I'll just wait till Monday and cash the check, it's fine. And
Smart man.
yeah, and Rudy takes his men to go and beat up the guy who had that idea.
Yep.
To make a whole show, which Bobby's not happy about. And it's maybe the first sign for Vincent that there's a bit more danger here than maybe he first thought. Because
Yeah.
it's when he comes out the bar after the long night of work, and Mike's like, "Oh, do you want me to hang around?" And he's like, "No, it's fine. I'll be okay." But he comes up those because obviously the bar's down the stairs. Kind of like like Cheers or whatever. It's down a little set of stairs. And as he's walking up, you see his POV almost of the car, and it's Rudy sitting in the car with his right hand man, and it's probably the first time they've been legitimately intimidating. Even though I don't think they had any real beef with him at this point, I was like, oh, I can see this developing.
Yeah, it was like, 'cause obviously when Bobby comes in, he's like, "Hey, I'm not happy about this," and Vincent's kind of like, "Yeah, well, it's Frankie's fault. I kind of had no choice. This was the situation," and he kind of brushes it off. It's like, okay, it is what it is. But then it gets to this bit. He's like, and you can kind of see it go through his head. It's like, no, he doesn't have a choice in this anymore.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes back to because we spoke a lot about the last couple of weeks about how Rudy's kind of his pimp and he's his girl. That really, like, they actually almost hitting that directly in this episode at one point when he's handed over the money for the week from the bar, and he's like, "Oh man, you're the first guy I've ever met, the first bartender who's never skimmed a little for himself. You've got such a good work ethic. Me and you, this relationship, it's like finding like the biggest boob girl and the best ass." Like he compares them to a woman. And then, they joke about it. He says, "Oh, are you saying you're falling in love with me?" He's like, "Heh, something like that." And it's just a joke, but it's just funny that it ties in directly to the way we were comparing it to the prostitution the last couple of weeks.
It's like a little hint, just like it's if you're not thinking of that, it's like, here, let's set your mind on the track.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, even though that scene later on when he comes out and they're in the car and it's very intimidating, it's not like he's even pissed at him because he takes him to this new location.
It's intimidating in the sense that he doesn't have any choice. He's not no control, but he's still friendly. He's still like, "Hey, I want you to do this."
He's like, I've got bigger plans for you. I want you to run more things. I want you to get this place up and running. Whatever he's planning.
Again, to go back to the prostitute stuff, it's like, "Hey, you're raking in the cash. You've done great on those tunnel trips. Now let's throw you onto some regulars."
Kind of, actually. Very similar. And actually, it wouldn't surprise me if this location, this new place that he's going to help work up, run perhaps, whatever, if that becomes kind of a main location for season 2. Like, maybe by the end of this season, we'll get the opening, or maybe that'll happen in season 2 or whatever, but I can see it becoming a new main hub for a lot of the characters. Kind of the way the bar has already in this season. But no, so obviously that stuff's ticking over, and that's building to a lot of things. Obviously, just sticking with Vincent, him and Abby finally have a there's some flirting going on throughout the episode, and then they eventually have the whole thing. And I think again, kind of stating to the audience that Abby's different from all the other, all the prostitutes, is that she even tells Vincent just before, because he kind of makes a move, not physically, but he just kind of makes a move in the sense that he's like, "Oh, let's have a drink," and she's like, "Nah, I don't really want one." And he's like, "Oh, I thought I was getting a vibe, but maybe I was wrong." It's like, "No, didn't say I wasn't interested." And she steps in and says, "I'm in control of this situation," which is the complete opposite of every other girl or every other woman in the show.
Joe, I was a little bit surprised that she didn't just say the line. It's like I said, I just said I didn't want to drink. Yeah, like play it up, because that's kind of what the implication was when she was saying, I didn't say I wasn't interested. Just didn't want to drink.
And then they have sex right there on the pool table. All very happy. So he gets a kind of happy ending. I just want my final point I'd like to make actually just on the Vincent stuff. Going back to that scene where he's leaving in the morning and the car's there and it's intimidating. I liked how that juxtaposed the ending of the last episode. Remember when the end of the last episode, it ended again at the end of the night shift of the bar. He's getting up the stairs and it's dawn and the music kicks in and he's all triumphant. He's flirting with Abby and he walks off like he's the biggest man in the world. But this time, end of the shift, he's coming out, he sees that car and he feels so small.
Didn't take long, did it?
It didn't take long. No, it was one episode. It was exactly one episode.
And it doesn't feel like that much time's passed.
No.
The bar's running, and the regulars are there, like the people that we expect to be. But it doesn't feel like it's been going too long, and it can't have been, because obviously like the cops are still, they're testing the limits of their no pickups in this area.
Oh, do you want to transition to that? Very, very well. Actually, just before we go, we should mention that Frankie wins some poker. He wins some money, and Vincent rats him into Rudy, and they come and collect his debt.
Yeah, that's good.
Frankie's not very happy about it.
Which, and that has another nice tie-in to the cops with the watches.
It does, yeah. It does, yeah. It's a fake watch. Rolex.
I like how none of them noticed, though.
Yeah, it's just he just noticed it and he's like, it says Rolex, and gives him it back because I don't want to know. Then Frankie's just pissed. So so we'll go to the cops. Actually, I thought it was very interesting because we had not both of them. Obviously, you have, I'm forgetting the names. There's still too many names in this. Flanagan and Alston. Alston's the main one we want to talk about. Alston is like, he wants to test it. He's like, I want to see how real this no-go order is on these streets. I want to actually test it. So they arrest this guy for peddling the watches, and they bring him in. And sure enough, both these direct superior and multiple superiors say, "No, let him loose. Like, this is nothing like that from those streets. Yeah, sure, someone's getting murdered by step in, but this is not where you farm your regular arrests." But I like the idea that he's pushing, because it's almost like how, on the other side of things, Abby is testing, I'm not just going to be one of these prostitutes and be the eye candy. I'm going to be more than that. I'm going to push the boundaries. I'm going to take control. It's almost like, similarly, Alston's saying, I'm not just going to accept that, I'm not supposed to do this. Why am I not supposed to do this? Why none of this is working? And that goes a little bit further with him when he meets the reporter later on in the episode. Yeah,
and he kind of wants to see how far up it goes as well. So he's like, okay, is it for real? Is this actually being enforced? Is that it's not just why, it's who, and how high in command is this gone? Yeah, because it then, again, it brings the police down into some of the themes that the other plots are going through, where they're being controlled. These cops are kind of like the prostitutes to their pimps who are in command. It's like, and you gotta notice, obviously, that money is the key to all of this. It's the key to all of these relationships is who's giving who the money. Yeah, that's all of it. So they end up. It's actually not them. It's Karate Kid and his partner who do the wagon and bring in a bunch of girls. And the reporter happens to be there, and she gets taken in with the rest of them. But as soon as she walks in the police station, Allison's looking over and going, "She doesn't look like a prostitute. She's just dressed completely differently." Yeah. And then they end up talking. He sort of takes her away from the lineup and is like, "You're free to go. You're obviously not one of them. What are you doing? Who are you?" So, I write for the Washington. Blah 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 blah. I'm doing an article on prostitution, and she asks for his number. Because they have a little heart to heart. Well, not heart to heart, but she brings up that she's trying to figure out the system and the way it works. And he sort of has this little joke. He's like, "Yeah, I've been doing this for years, and I still don't have a clue, why it is the way it is." But again, the idea that both him and her want to test things and want to prod and see why things are the way they are. But she asked for his number, and he's he thinks it's his badge number, but it's actually his phone number. And he shows up for a date later on, and he's all dressed all fancy. He's got a nice jacket on, nice little suit on. He's all excited. She comes in, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to stay here and watch this prostitute in the red dress and see what she's up to." He's like, "I thought we were going for dinner. Oh, I brought you a burger." It's a stakeout. She invited him to a stakeout without him knowing. Yep. It's again, it was kind of awkward, but in a funny way this time.
Yeah, this was more funny. This I actually see them growing to like each other a lot
Yeah,
maybe.
he looked proper disappointed though. Like, when he was looking down at his bow, he was like, "Oh damn, I thought I was getting somewhere."
And even the fact that he's like, there's only one burger, it's like, oh, I'll just have some fries. It's like, no, you have a burger too. I'll admit, maybe this is the greedy bastard in me, but when he first said there's only one burger, I'm like, what, you wanted two? Yeah, I wouldn't mind two.
When she goes, "Oh, I'll just have some fries," it just turn around and go, "Well, then you should have ordered yourself some fries, shouldn't you?"
Yeah, I'm curious to see where that goes though, because this is two characters who have never spoke before, and then all of a sudden we're thrown into this mix where now Alston himself, like up until this point, he seems like the honest cop, but up until this point I wasn't really sure. Okay, where's he going as a plot line? Where's his character going? And now it's like, okay, I get it. They're going to be together. They're going to like poke at the pull at the threads
from the opposite angles.
Pull at the threads of what's going on, and that could be a fascinating turn of events. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. Jump back to the bar. Actually, we forgot to mention Vincent. There's a fight that breaks out in the bar,
Yes.
which this kind of falls off on the cops actually. So that works nicely.
Look at that. We are mastering these segues tonight.
Yeah, completely intentional.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be so much better if we weren't pointing them out every time.
Yeah. So yeah, this fight breaks out, and it turns out one of the people fighting is actually a cop. He pulls out the badge and gets Vincent not to interfere, and then this superior comes in, and
Utter prick.
he's extorting money. Like it's basically like gang protection money. Oh, give us $250 a week, and we'll make sure this doesn't happen. And he's like, you just broke like $300 worth of furniture, and now you're wanting more money out of me? Like, quite rightly, he's miffed, and he's not happy about it. But again, this reminded me of the whole idea that he's a prostitute now. He's paying his pimp. This is not his pimp, but he's almost like he's got a second pimp that gets a little bit of money.
It is.
It's skimming off the top.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. But because of this,
I just want to point out how much of a smarmy prick this guy is.
Oh yeah, because he asked for the bourbon.
He might be the most unlikable character in the show.
I was just saying something.
It is. We got like pimps slicing girls still at least have a semblance of, oh, he's likable in a certain point, whereas this guy is just a prick.
Yeah, CC's an awful person, but he's nice to talk to people.
He's got some charisma.
Yeah, he just does it to talk to people. I mean, he's an awful person, but he knows how to, just have decorum about him.
Yeah.
But anyway, because of this, Vincent goes to get a gun, and it's actually someone that Mike's recommended. And Vincent has no idea what to do with guns. He doesn't know what they are. He picks the lady gun, as the guy points out. And he's like, you don't really need a gun. You need a gunman. And he ends up hiring this guy. So now Mike and his buddy who were selling the guns are both hired to protect the place. So, fun. There was some fun stuff though, because Bobby was there. He was upset about the whole beating up the worker thing, and the Mike's friend is like, oh, I've only been on the job for an hour. I'm already going to have to kick your ass.
Yeah, Mike's friend might be the most laid back person ever.
He is pretty laid back actually.
Because he's like, oh, what's your name? It's like, oh, Frankie. It's like, oh, two Frankies. That could be confusing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Can I call you Black Frankie? It's like, yeah, whatever works.
Yeah. So he's now Black Frankie, which feels weird to say. Like,
but that's his name. That's what the show is giving us.
That's what the show's calling him. So we'll use it. But it feels weird to say. I typically go out of my way to avoid using that as a single descriptor of a person for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but until the show gives us something better to call him, because we can't just call him Mike's friend.
It feels less offensive.
It feels less offensive, but
Frankie too. I don't know. Number them. That's my go-to.
The other one.
Well, we had the other Frankie first, so this one is Frankie too. It's just natural, nice and easy.
No, that's fair.
Or you call him Frankie and you call Vincent's brother Frankie Franco. Frankie Franco. That's my.
Just call him Franco. It's close enough.
Yeah, you can just call him Franco. That's good. Yeah, but then you think you're talking about Vincent as well.
Yeah. No, see, there's too many problems with this. Maybe we should just stick to Black Frankie. They gave it to us for a reason.
Alright, so where to next? Let's talk a little bit about Darlene. And Darlene and Abby having a little moment. A couple of moments, but they have one in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Where Abby's just broke her shoe in the fight, and Darlene's actually quite good at fixing this. She, pulls out a pin and she fixes her buckle.
Yeah, because she's not had that much money, so she's been used to. There's obviously this idea that Abby, she's from a well-off place. She's never had to be like this.
Darlene makes it dig, you just buy a new shoe when this happens. But I think it also shows that Darlene's actually quite smart. Like she knows, but she knows a lot of things. She knows how to fix things. She knows and they have this little heart-to-heart where Abby, because she genuinely likes Darlene, like she seems to be becoming friends with her. Where she then asked the question, why do you do this? Why are you a prostitute? She asked that because it's almost like it bothers Abby that she is this, and she doesn't understand why she is this way when she can see, she's someone that she respects is in there, and she doesn't really give an answer. But she's, Abby asks about her family, and she's like, oh, I've got one aunt who was good to me back home, and I'm not going back there. She's not going to send me money for a ticket or anything like that. But later, she kind of offends her a little bit because Darlene kind of walks out, in a bit more of a cold shoulder kind of vibe. She's not really happy with where the line of conversations went. But later, Abby, when she's serving her a drink at the bar, she hands her a book. And at first, this is just a nice gesture in the first place because we know that she likes to read. And
it's kind of like this. There's this mutually beneficial relationship where hey, I'm helping you with the books and stuff because Abby knows that stuff. That's what she was at college for. And Darlene, she helped out with the shoes. It's like, okay, here, I'll pay you back 1 for 1. Help each other out.
It's also an olive branch. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I know I kind of upset you. Here's something.
Yeah. And of course, it's what they first bonded over as well. She was there reading the book.
So it works on multiple levels. But she opens the book up and there's a ticket. There's like a bus ticket or a plane ticket. I didn't notice which type, but there's a ticket to her home to go home, and. This may actually, even though I love the candy stuff the most in terms of overall plot, this might have had my favourite moment in the episode because Larry's behind her and he's looking over and he's like, "Hey, Darlene, come here," and Darlene, plays it cool. She says thanks, and it's, her back's to Larry, so he can't see what she's saying. He's not seen the ticket or anything like that, and she puts the book in the bag. And she walks over to him, but Abby makes a point saying, hey, here's your drink. And she goes off with her glass of wine or whatever it is. And as soon as she gets over to Larry, Abby's still looking. Larry takes the glass of wine off of her and drinks it himself as he's looking at Abby. And it's just this perfect little visual moment of, no, this is mine. Drink.
Yeah, it's
that's all it is.
And anything that she has is mine.
It's beautiful in its simplicity of the message.
It really is, yeah. And it's so intentionally done as well. He looks right at her and goes, "No, I want you to know that this is what's going on here." There's no just some of this stuff's just for the audience when we see these things, but this one was no. This is to you. You look at this.
Yeah. So let's jump over. There's a couple of characters who we've seen before, but they got a bit more light in this one. We should mention Shay, who's the Kim Director character. She's one of the prostitutes. She when Abby was in the bathroom, she was just casually shooting up in the stall behind her. It was just so casually in the background. You could have not noticed it maybe if you weren't really kind of paying attention. But we had these two other characters. One of whom, because I put so many names in this show, it's hard to when they give me a new character that I'm not familiar with. It's hard to. Okay, one of them's called Melissa. The longer hair one's Melissa, and then there's one with shorter hair. That's the best I've got for you right now. But they are one of them's getting into trouble by our pimp in the diner for not making as much money. I think it is Melissa specifically, and I think it's Larry as well. It's Larry she's talking to, and he's pissed because it's she's late. There's not as much money, and she's like, "I'm on my period. Guys don't really want to go down there." And he gets pissed off about that. And he's like, well, suck more then. That's his response. He's like, well, make it work. Do something else. And Thunder Thighs, which also feels offensive to call that, but that's just, again, that's the name they've given us. Thunder Thighs is sitting there along with the other girl, the short-haired girl, and they basically have this conversation at the table about their periods and about tampons. And they start talking, and Thunder Thighs starts talking about, you can get a sponge and guys can't tell the difference, but you can catch diseases a little bit. It's a little bit riskier, and you have to get tongs to pull it out.
Oh, that was it. That was the moment when Larry is sick of it because they ask, how'd you get it out? And she goes, I got these needle nose pliers. Yeah. And Larry just is like, nope, that's enough.
Yeah, he slams his food down. And he's like, God damn it, keep to yourself. And he goes up to the counter away from them. But then as soon as he does, the other girls, the girl, Melissa turns around to the others and goes, Thanks, guys. It's like they did it intentionally to weird him out because he was being a dick. It was a nice little moment. But then we get this little twist later on. The other girl's pimp is annoyed that she's not back yet at the car. Again, we've seen this. There's a lot of repeating sort of ideas, or not ideas, but like we've seen this, the pimp's waiting for the girls at the end of the night thing. We've seen that repeatedly. So it's so ingrained in our heads now. It's part of the daily routine, part of the daily system. But she better be tricking. She better be, doing her work. And it cuts to the two prostitutes, Melissa and this short-haired girl, are together. They're actually having a love scene. It's not a job. It's they're in a relationship, or at least sexual partners. And it's so different from when we see the girls working the jobs. But I don't know. It was just a neat little twist that two of the girls are actually have feelings for each other. It's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, because it was nice before when it was just there's this solidarity between them. They're sticking up for each other.
Which is still true because Thunder Thighs was also in that. Like it wasn't just the two and the couple, but
and like to play along to that idea of the solidarity, we have the Thunder Thighs and Candy as well later on.
Yeah, that's right. Candy comes over and she stole this prostitute who died or whatever, Nikki, her jacket, and it was a really nice suede material or whatever. And again, just to go back to Candy stuff, like her putting that on, it was like she's seeing a better life. She's seeing, I could just be walking around in suede. Again, simple. By the way, I love that Thunder Thighs has a big set of traffic lights at her window.
Oh yeah, to say when she's when she's working or not.
Off duty.
Red light, done for the night.
Yeah, green. What does amber mean then?
Maybe it's more like train lights. The train ones that are just red and green.
No, I think it was a street traffic light. Maybe she just doesn't use it. But I'm just curious to think, what would it mean if she put the amber one on? It's like
if you pay enough.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, only high paying, or I'll be ready in an hour. Maybe it's like I'll be on duty soon.
Getting ready.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up my dinner or something. That's what amber means.
Yeah, that's good. It's a great system.
Aye, perfect. Aye, if you can find a traffic light to put in your window, sure.
Who can't?
Aye, sure. I bet you can buy them. I bet there's a place that does them.
eBay.
Well, if nothing else, well, not in the show.
Doesn't help them, admittedly.
1972 here. Come on.
Yeah.
Where was I? Where's it going? Oh yeah, so yeah, we had those characters. Again, it's fleshing out the world a little bit with some of these other side characters that I'm sure will pop up here or there in other plots. But speaking of a gay relationship, we also have the barman, whose name I also don't know yet, unfortunately. But the barman who was already working there when it was a gay club, he's like in a relationship with this guy. He's a lawyer. He's this uptight lawyer who wears fancy suits, and he keeps like turning him down and not wanting to go places in public with him, in case like people who work at his law firm see him, that kind of thing. He's nervous when they're out at dinner, and the bartender keeps asking him, "Hey, there's this thing at the weekend. My friend made a movie or something. Can we go?" And he's like, "No." He keeps, and it's kind of like it's a big thing for him because he also feels like he feels out of place at the hi-hat, even though he likes it. He even says to the other guy he likes it, but Vincent even sees that he's not in a great place, and they go out and have a sort of heart-to-heart out in the steps, and
and it goes to like, because obviously the guy, remember the time, there's a reason why the other guy is a bit uncomfortable out in public, and Vincent's like, no, it's cool, whatever, but if you're not happy, you gotta sort this out. He's a very understanding guy, isn't he?
Yeah, Vincent's again, it's showing you once again that Vincent's such a good people person. He's good at talking to everyone.
He's a top bloke,
if you want to put it that way. Sure. But you get this sense from him that him going through all this rough stuff as well. It's again challenging things, and his boyfriend's not ready to challenge along with him. You kind of feel like this is another big theme of this because the joke is, I think he brings up that they used to go on marches at this other bar, and eventually they had to stop because after a few marches. So again, it's the idea of pushing boundaries and that kind of thing. So no, I
mean, even to go back a little bit, Candy's whole thing last episode with okay, I want to be ready for when we can just push this porn here in America, because it's, again, we can't do it now, but she's ready to push that boundary. It's like as soon as it's there, it's like she just wants to be ready to go. Yeah.
But again, I think it's interesting. It took a little bit of time in this episode to flesh out. That's why I don't know his name yet, because he's been just a he's the guy in the bar, and we've seen him
Yeah,
a
he's
couple of
kind of just been in
times.
the background. He's never really done anything up to this point.
Yeah, but now we have a little bit of context for him. Now we have a little bit of like, oh, this is who he is. But no, so
Yeah.
um, was there much else? Laurie
Well,
didn't have a whole lot to do.
she had she had a little bit, didn't she?
There was
She
that
just,
she had. I mean, she was with Candy at the start, but otherwise it was basically just that one scene where she came up and Ashley was there and Cece's there, and he's taking the money off of them. And again, it's just kind of hitting back at that point where Ashley feels that she's the older one who's been phased out
yeah.
for the new
But
hot
Laurie's
young.
trying to be the upstart. She's coming in, it's like, oh, I'll do it. I'll take your job.
Yeah, and then Cece's like, no, you'll do your work. Laurie's coming with me for a night in. Like,
Yeah.
again, so it's not only it's like, no, you have to do your work. She's getting the treats, you know.
Yeah.
Arguably, whether Laurie sees that as a treat's another thing, but to him that's you get to have the night off and come spend it with me. Like to him that's
Yeah,
him
of
giving
course,
out a branch. But yeah, so
Yeah, that's pretty much all she does in this episode.
that was pretty much it. That, and again, it was reiterating some things from before that we've already been kind of touching
Yeah.
at. But
It really is New Kid on the Block, isn't it?
yeah, but showing that these things are still going along and all this other stuff. But no, I thought this was a great episode.
Yeah, it really was.
I don't think there was a single scene that felt wasted. Like everything feels so important.
Yeah, the highest praise I can give the show is it's so tightly scripted.
Yeah, but at the same time, it makes use of the fact that it's a full hour per episode because it lets scenes breathe. It does them in sort of sometimes it won't just spell out what's going on. It'll do other things. Oh, I actually just remembered one scene we didn't talk about. Vincent's wife
Oh yeah,
showing up at the brother's house, the brother-in-law's house, and basically conveniently showing up when she knew he'd be there. You can tell the sisters maybe had a hand in setting this up, and they get outside and talk about. She's like, "Oh, well, we can have a beach day with the kids. We miss you. I miss you." He's like, "You don't miss me. You miss the idea of being married, but like you set my clothes on fire." She's like, "That was an accident. Maybe the first time it was."
yeah, it's a great moment. This episode really had some funny stuff in it, didn't it?
It did, yeah. There was some jokes. Mike's buddy. I don't want to say Black Frankie. He seems pretty funny. Like he's got a few good lines. And then you have this with the wife. And Frankie, Frankie. He's typically pretty funny. In a
Yeah,
sort
just
of
his whole
sleazeball way.
idea, whole idea of him, the poker games. Like, hey, don't give him credit. He's not good for it. He's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm way up.
And him just walking out, it's like, oh, you phoned and paid my debt. It's such a betrayal.
Yeah.
As he's walking out,
he's like,
yeah.
damn it, I'm all square now, but I could have had cash.
It's like, yeah, I'll just start winning again tomorrow, and you'll be up. It's fine. Your debt's. Most people are happy to get debt off their hands. But
Exactly.
He wants to string it along. He's like, no, I want this cash on me.
So I've got time to deal with this. Don't worry about it.
But Vincent's smart enough to outplay him and be sensible. Is basically the thing. Oh dear. Okay, I think we're done though. I think that's all the plots.
Yeah.
Look at you thinking. You're like, oh,
I am. I'm just double checking.
He's missed something important.
These episodes, like, they're tightly scripted, but they are dense. They fit a lot in.
They are dense. I think it's funny because if I have to make one criticism of the show, and it's not really a criticism, it's just its style, is that some other shows I like how focused each episode is in telling its own story, whereas this one it feels a lot more like not everything's just super serialized and it's just going to continue everything. And obviously the Candy stuff was kind of focused because it was like, no, this is specifically about this thing. But for the most part, this episode, it was kind of continuing everything again.
The thing is, the Candy stuff was no more focused than usual. I don't think. I think it's just that she was the only one that really had anything on her own, whereas everyone else converged through the bar. Whereas usually everyone has their own thing, so it felt scattershot.
Yeah. But it was harder to bounce around this one because everything was kind of webbed into each other. And
Did, yeah. I think we knew this time was coming. It's only a matter of time until we got just too interconnected to go through everything, character by character.
Yeah. So, but no, really, really solid episode. I'm still liking everything. Like we say, tightly scripted, extremely well acted throughout, which we've praised a lot. It's one of the things because I think in the first episode we praise how good the acting is, and then we mostly never mention it again unless there's like a standout moment because
it is one of those things where it set its standard, and unless it dips from that or goes above and beyond, there's no
Yeah.
need to really mention it every time because otherwise you just go, "Yep, acting's still great."
Yeah, same with the directing style. I think
Yeah.
once you've established it in the first couple of episodes, you don't typically mention too much again unless it does something out of the ordinary. Well, it's a good thing out of the ordinary or a bad thing out of the ordinary, but
Yeah,
it's worth reminding once in a while that no, this actually is
definitely.
that's good at times. But no, so that has been episode 4 of The Deuce. Let us know what you think of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can do that over there. There is an audio feed for this review series of The Deuce. Now you can get it on your iTunes and your usual places if you search. Probably just search Mailed Fuzz TV and you'll get everything that we've. We're testing the waters with a few audio feeds for some of the show reviews to see if anyone likes them that way. But if you do, by all means, give us good ratings and stuff on there as well. All of it helps. But yeah, so that is us. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?